Hi everyone, welcome back. So today is very important session because I'm going to talk about what is called error handling. Error handling essentially means that whenever we are coding, since let's say we are creating a strategy or even if we are doing backtesting, we don't want our code to get stopped in the middle. So there has to be some mechanism to make sure that if there is some mistake, it should be able to handle that mistake. That is called error handling. So I'll show you what are the good, I would say, SOPs that you should keep in mind whenever you are coding your strategies. So I've done the initial part. I've logged into my API. I've got my client ID and access token, and I've also created my FYERS model. Now, if you remember, so far we have been using normal, let's say, direct functions which have been provided by FYERS. But a good method or good idea is to create functions. So we will be creating user-defined functions, and we will be calling those functions. So there is few benefits of using these functions. The first one is obviously the code becomes much cleaner. So what I've done here is I've created a function called place order. So it I can just, let's say, minimize it and I know what this chunk of code is going to do. Also, if you remember, in all my previous codes, I had to keep doing quit, or I had to keep, let's say, commenting some of the lines. I don't have to do that anymore because I can only run the function that I'm looking for. And it, as I said, it makes it very easy for me to, for example, try to figure out where the error is. So the first thing is we will always try to create different functions. So here I'm showing you example of error handling using a function for place order. So what I've done is I've created a user-defined function called place order, in which I'm passing few parameters. The first one is the symbol. That means what symbol I want to take the trade in. The quantity, whether I want to go for a market order or a limit order, whether I want to go for buying side or selling side, and whether it's an intraday or a AMO order. So let's try to understand. So I'm going to pass more easy to read example. So let's say this is how I'm going to call the function. Let's say I want to buy Nifty futures 50 quantity market price, and I want to buy it, and I want to do it on an intraday basis. So as you can see, I'm not putting any one for a buying, or I'm not putting one or two for market. I'm putting in normal English because it makes it much more easier to read. But we will still have to tell the code what each of these values mean. So that is what I've done here. So what it is going to do is it is first going to check what is its type, and if the type is market, it is going to internally convert this type into a 2, because we know that in FYERS market order is created as type 2, and if it's a limit order it will make it a 1. Similarly, it will check for the side. If it's a buy, it will make it a 1, and otherwise that means it's a sell, it will make it a -1. So again, what we are trying to do here is we are converting these English words into the format which is understandable by FYERS API. Then I am using this offline order. If it's an intraday, I am going to make it false. And if it, let's say, if it's AMO, I'm going to make it true. So this is the first part of the code, but now comes the more important part, which is when we are actually going to, let's say, call the API. That is where we are going to use this try and except. So what is this try and accept? Try and accept is essentially that it is going to try to run this code, whatever is inside the try module. But if there is any mistake, it will not stop the code. So the code will not break. It will actually come here and it will tell us the reason also. The good part is, so there are two parts. First part is it actually catches any exception or error and it tells us what the error is. Second, the code does not break. So that is why whenever you are, let's say, interacting with the API, always try to use this try catch or try accept. Now I'm making my data, and in the data variable, I'm putting my symbol as the symbol, because now I have all the variables. Quantity is my quantity, which has been mentioned here. Then I have the type and the side. I have my product type as intraday. I could have made this another variable, but for example, I've made it normal intraday. Then let's say limit price, or you can make all of them variables also, but just to give an example, I've made few of them as variables. So this is the data that we want to purchase. This is where I'm placing the order. This is where I'm placing the order. Now, if there was an error, right, I will actually check the error here itself. So what I'm trying to do here is that if response.get s equal to OK. Now, why am I doing that? Because when we get the response, you would have noticed that we get this S by FYERS itself. And if it is okay, that means the order was submitted successfully, and I will get the order ID. Else, that means there was some method, some error here. We will tell what was the error code, and I will also try to print the message that we got from the FYERS API. Now, FYERS actually implicitly or explicitly gives us this, so it's easy for us to figure out what the error is. But let us say you are working, and let us assume that the FYERS was not giving this error code. Then in that case, we could have the code would have been caught in this exception, and we would have still understood what the error is. So let's try to run the code. So what I'm doing is let's try to purchase Nifty futures. I'm going to run the code now, and let's see what happens. So as you can see here, it is coming in this part. It is saying order placement fail. It is giving me an error code of -99. And then it is also giving me the message which says that there is a margin shortfall because the total margin required is about 1,39,000, whereas I only have 8,600 rupees. So let's check it out. So you can see that my current margin is about 8,600, which was being shown there. And since I was trying to buy the Nifty futures, that's not allowed. And that is why I was getting that error. So you can clearly see that why we got that error. In fact, if you notice here, this is the rejected status which is being shown to us. So this is exactly the rejected status that is being shown to us, that why we are not able to place the order. So let's try one more example. Let us say I want to buy, for example, Infi, but I want to buy a very, very large quantity. Let us again try to see whether that is possible or not. And you will see that again I am getting another error code -50. The maximum allowed quantity per order is 9999, and that is why it is not allowing me to take this entry. Now, if you want to understand what is this error code, I am pretty sure that you can get it from the API also. So there are a lot of these status error codes. For example, you can see here. So you can go through each of these error codes also. But what I've shown here in the code is that it is directly printing out the message also for us so that we know what the error is. Again, let's try to do something else. Let's try to put a CNC. So I'll try to do a cash and carry trade. So I'll try to do a selling trade now. And let us say 100. Again, this should not be allowed because I'm trying to sell Infosys even though I don't own the stock. So let's try to run the code. You can see here that again I'm getting an error, check holdings including BTST, because I don't have this holding. I cannot positionally short sell it. So it is giving me all those errors. The good thing is, as you can see, it is showing process exists with finished code 0. That means the code is actually not stopping. It is telling me that there is an error, but the code is running the entirety. And if there was any strategy beyond this, it will keep running correctly. And finally, let's try to actually do the correct trade also. So let's say if I do this, you will finally see that everything worked out fine and it was able to submit the order. And this is the order reference ID. Let's check it out. So if we go here in our positions, we have got our CNC of Infosys 1 quantity. So we can clearly see that this is a much cleaner format. Not only did it catch all the errors, it even gave us the reasons why that was not working. And finally, when everything is coded fine, it actually went ahead and placed the order also. So you can use the same concept in all the aspects. Let's say in historical data. So whenever you are interacting with the API, always try to use this method of try and accept, and try to get this if else done so that you know what is working, what is not. I'll give you one quick example also. Let me just put a print here. So let's print the response also. So when the code is running fine, you will see that this is the part that we are trying to find, whether we have S is equal to OK. So whenever we have S is equal to OK, that means the code has run fine. Whereas if I do a sell trade now, so again I'm doing a wrong trade, you will notice that we will not have that S equal to OK. So you can see it says S equal to error, and hence it is coming into this else part. So I hope this makes sense and how we do error handling. Always a good idea to make sure that your code has all these error handlings included so that we don't run into any problems in the future. Thanks for joining, and I will see you in the next video.